You're green from the 4th round of the episode. Oh, wait, what? This is not the first round of the episode. This is the first. Picking up right where we left off. Welcome to part 2 of the episode, and we are around round 4, Suzuka. And the focus car is Honoka, who's right in the middle of the point standings, but with this point system, which is literally just a 20-to-1 countdown format, big swings can happen just by finishing on the podium. It is literally just average finish and nothing more, so Honoka's average right now, but if she finishes ahead of all the drivers who are above average, she'll pass them in points, in theory. Has made no progress. Traffic jam has been absolutely unreal through the first sector of the circuit here, and continues to be as such as we head up towards the Degner curves. Ryan Wolf gives somebody a bumper full there. Oh, now he gives Honoka a bumper full there. Slams Honoka into Ellie. Down the inside of 2 cars, but finds Vert at the apex and therefore cannot go anywhere. We'll out-drag Vert on the exit though, because 4-wheel drive, but man, this car really doesn't feel like it. That thing slides around like most rear-wheel drive cars do. The only thing is just, you know, it's supposed to be all-wheel drive. It has better race starts, but that's about all it's got to its name. What? That's about all it's got to its name, Riker. You wanna maybe enunciate those words? Goodness. Head of Narashi, send it on the 911. Travis Wild gives absolutely no room to the NSX, probably because he didn't even know she was gonna be there at all. She made a very sudden arrival. You might have noticed already on the leaderboard, but a very big thing that's happened. Yeah, Nico was able to complete the Tokyo Expressway race, but then she woke up the next morning with a terrible headache, and many people are automatically fearing concussion. We don't know what the long-term effects of this will be for Ms. Yazawa. However, she's not able to compete in the rest of this championship, so instead her, Maki Nishikino, with the number 41 plastered right over top of the number board, will be taking her place for the remaining races. A couple of other drivers offered to do that, but I know Kotori and Barbara Page, of all people, offered to fill in the seat, but Maki was insistent, A. B. Kotori has no experience driving 720 class cars, and C. Well, Barbara's not even on Mercury. I don't know why. I mean, I guess you may as well try, especially considering she couldn't qualify. Her C7 Stingray was still being fixed. She couldn't attempt to make this championship, and I kind of feel like her car had the speed to if she were, if it were still working. Green really getting in the team spirit, absolutely trying to run Honoka off the circuit. They continue to make more contact. We've got about as much teamwork as my Overwatch teammates usually have. For the last time, Mercy, I need healing. As Japan decides to remind us that we are in Japan and therefore gives us sunrise. Despite not having driven a Viper before, or anything like it, she's driven mid-engine MR cars up to this point. Maki seems to be driving Nico's Viper relatively fine. And isn't feeling the pressure of Wayne Hansen being right behind her, as he is the points leader. Now, the way that this was handled was kind of interesting behind the scenes, as far as, like, okay, so can Nico score points? No. Nico has to be running the car for that. Maki has been allowed to inherit Nico's points because this car scored them, even if this driver didn't. So, hypothetically, with good enough results, Maki could win the championship, despite missing the first half of it. It's kind of weird, points are scored on a per vehicle basis, but entrants are doled out on a per number basis. So Maki's in the race, and it's counted as Maki scoring the points because the number 41 is plastered on the side. Just really playing hard to get with the real estate there, going through the corner leading up to Spoon, but Honoka does not care. She moves into P5 ahead of Johnny Parker as well. Huge exit out of Spoon, just embarrasses Kogasa on exit. Hello, Send! Honoka just throws it down the inside of Ice, grabs the spot through the chicane. She's running podium now. The front two is just me and Cam, and admittedly I'm just kind of complacent to sit here in P2. Possibly P3, because Honoka is catching us rapidly. Where I'm sitting in the point standings, I think I have a bit more to gain by finishing 19th. Could be messaged mobile device because caught up to me. Yeah, don't honk at me, lady. She thinks she's funny. Leading Cam, send it into the hairpin, chicane, and oh goodness, too much curb, the NSX didn't appreciate it. She's inhibited on corner exit. Cam, both cars four-wheel drive, so they're not going to have too many struggles on acceleration. The Honoka has the better acceleration and will take the lead heading towards 1. Now she just has to not miss corners, and she can attempt to drive away. And everyone just like attacking these curbs. Honika's kind of staying off them though. Maybe that's part of the key to her success here. This is sort of where I've got a choice of my own to make. Do I attack Cam to help Honoka escape? I think I do. Not much though. There's not a lot of places to attack. And most of the ones that do exist aren't really advantageous because Cam's always going to have the better exit out of corners. My literal best bet would actually be 130R, but he will always get a better exit than me out of spoon curve heading down the hill. And as you can see, he's even using those good exits to catch Honoka again. Top three are pretty far removed from the rest of the grid. This car cannot be fun here. This just doesn't seem pleasant at all. Screw it, we'll go again. Even though he's gonna get a better exit than me. Especially when I missed the chicane because I'm an absolute buffoon, but I've gained Honoka some breathing space for the time being. Talk about team play. Even if Honoka's behind me in the standings, I don't particularly care. God, the way the AI take turns 1 and 2 here just gives me so many migraines. You can take that with 2 dabs of the brakes, not 4. Right as I got back to Cam, I over throttle it and nearly died. Usually nearly dying, not pleasant. And yet I seem to keep doing it anyway. This is just the great Kogasa train of 2022. Now, Hansen's going for a move on DePrisco. I'm surprised there's been no contact. Oh, never mind, brake checking. DePrisco sends it, pushes Hansen almost off the road. A little happy slaps compared to the last week's races, but still conflict between DePrisco and Hansen for the umpteenth-thousandth time. To the surprise of literally nobody, I'm sure, at this point. Following that conflict, the train has sort of derailed a tiny bit. Now it's like 2 smaller trains. Reen sends it down the inside of Siegfried Brandt into the chicane. She actually keeps it on the road, unlike me. And gets a superior exit by far, but it blocks off the S13, but it still does not matter. Under braking, Reen will attempt to go back around, and will. And that was quite an interesting battle that Brandt really requires you to rethink how you drive. Because his car has so much power, you have to take a new approach to passing him at every track. Compared to any normal car that has a 3-digit value of horsepower rather than 1200. As we turn our attention back to the battle for the lead, which really isn't much of a battle, it's kind of just everyone maintaining COVID-19 protocol distances. You know, make sure you keep 6 feet apart, or this case, like 2 car lengths apart. The spoon curve, Cam is pushing his car a little bit now. I mean, obviously it's the final lap, so Cam's probably been saving his stamina more than anything else. His tire wear is not a huge problem, you've got racing hards. Honoka's NSX just has greater horsepower and thus can escape Cam's clutches down the final straightaway. And just about getting it stopped for the chicane, almost called it the hairpin again. Honoka Kosaka will be the one to grab the checkered flag at Suzuka. Cam, followed by myself, round out the podium, and then the train continues. So Maki and her substitute run manages 9th. I think she almost took 8th from DePrisco at the chicane, but was a little offline, it looks like. I'm not exactly sure. A nice, clean, mostly clean race following Tokyo, where I literally thought I just watched a teammate of mine get killed by a psychopath womanizer in a Ferrari. I've made my grievances known regarding him a couple of times. Now I told Gina directly. It didn't go super far. I'm really not surprised, but I could really stick a knife through her head and it still wouldn't get through her skull. We have a deleted scene here. The spectator's camera completely missed this in the original episode. Nico Mizoto just runs Green off the track in the runoff area where there's no grip. And she actually spins back into the path of Honoka as she's making her way through the field. This means that a few corners later, remember correctly, Honoka gets a little bit of a payback for that into one of the Degners, remember right? There's a bit of the horn, and there's the takedown. Right off into the gravel, and because he couldn't re-enter the circuit until everyone else had gone by, this actually denotes Mizoto down to last place, and he would stay there for the entirety of the event. This was like lap 2, I believe. And he never made his way back to anyone else. He finished back here. He deserves it. We are green from round 5 of the championship. And we head to Monza for it. 7-lap event. And the camera, the focus car is Siegfried Brandt in that crazy 1200 horsepower S13 as, well, turn 1 at Monza, things progress ahead. You know, what else can you reasonably expect? This is Monza we are talking about, remember? There's always going to be some BS through turn 1. And if there was ever a track that this car seems to be built for, oh, that's not wise. Oh, that's even more unwise. Ellie just about sprint tackled Brandt. He did well to save that. I think he kind of saw it coming. He had a few moments to do so, I'm sure. But it's still quite a save with a car like this. That just looks positively stupid. And from any replay camera, this car just looks absolutely stupid. Yeah, honestly, well, Brandt already made pretty good work out of Tokyo Expressway, which is another track that this car is really good for. This one, it seems like it's built for this track. There are 4 long straightaways where he can utilize all 1,200 of that horsepower, starting right now. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. 230 before braking for turn 1. And getting it stopped in time. Tell you one thing, when it comes to unique drivers, Drinkwater knows how to find them. Because he recruited a few. He recruited Brant here. He's also responsible for recruiting Minako Kochiya in her Itasha RX-8. I believe he also was responsible for, well, he found Baxter Brooks, which certainly a unique character, not a very likable one, but he's definitely a unique driver. And in turn, that was more or less a 3-for-1 deal because of Brooks, Skylar Stone joined, and then because of Skylar, her sister joined. You get 3 Brits for the price of 1. As Vert and Ice nearly ran each other off the circuit going through Ascari. Goodbye! Oh my god. This car will never not amaze me, as he just sends it down the inside of Ice. And Mizoto started on pole in this race, and I gotta say, what's it like to be leading the race at your home circuit and not have a single person in the crowd cheering for you? That's gotta be a very jarring experience that I don't ever expect to have to deal with, because I'm not a raging brat who'd rather spend more time spreading bad opinions than he would spend driving well. I mean, yeah, he's leading the race now, but no one likes that. Kind of pushing your luck there with that, Brant. Just a little more and he'll get up to that F430 and maybe give this crowd something to cheer for. You know, there's actually a pretty decent number of people at this race. Here we go. Oh god! Oh jeez. Alright. Surprised it wasn't stuck on the gravel out there. Well, that'll give them something to cheer for. How about a takedown in the finest order, courtesy of Brant, who I think, like Dom DePrisco, is also getting some vigilante justice in. I know he is a man of honor, some sort of German Crusaders code or some shit. And he has seen an immense amount of wrongdoing in the last 2 races, where Mizoto has been a participant in which Mizoto has been a participant. There we go. I remembered how to speak English. So with that, Mizoto is down. Not to last, but down to 11th place, fighting for it against Kosaka. And getting ratioed on corner exit, mind you. Oh, brake Dom, good lord. Now Brant's able to just cruise. He's got several seconds to lead to 2nd place. So that's a 4-second lead to the credit of Siegfried here. He's making this thing look like a legitimate race car. This guy is it'll buff out. It's fine. You've seen much worse in this episode, or just this episode, this championship. We've seen much worse than that. That's a scrape. Not even there. Can't even see it. Watching that S13 just tear off in the distance. All of your hard work to catch him in the corner is just undone the second we exit Parabolica. It's just... This car is just unfair in some ways, but it also is totally fair because he's racing a dragster. It's not explicitly so, but it might as well be a dragster. Some of the worst cornering in the series, cornering on par with some of the 600 class cars, but you point it in a straight line and it will fly. Probably literally if we took it to a certain track. Something like a Maggiore or Tokyo East, this thing probably might actually fly. Hansen wanted to pass, but couldn't find a lane. And he will go down the inside of Ascari now. Maki will give him no room. Don't think he'll react too nicely to that. He doesn't react nicely to much of anything. I guess he just finds it easier to outdrag her. Like, whenever I switch vehicles that the camera is pointed at, if they're at higher revs, you'll start to actually hear the car like at sort of like a default engine pitch. Oh god. Before it actually, the game then tells it to adjust to its actual RPMs. So you're like dun 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 dun. Also, Ellie overtook Bert into turn 1. Pretty simple dive bomb. Barely stuck that, and Bert just seemed awestruck by that. He almost forgot he was racing and just kind of stood there for like, what the hell? He did get a pretty good exit out of it too eventually when he got out of it, but he does not find a way down the inside of the Porsche. Ellie brakes late a second time and again, just about keeps it on the track. Only works if they're at relatively high revs though. If they're slowing down for a corner, you will never notice. Ellie is now pretty quickly approaching ice too. As we are about to set off on the final lap of Monza. Brand's using delayed hairpin exits and stuff now. He's pulling out all the stops. I don't really see why he needs to do that. He's got like a 3-second lead, almost 4. And that lead may still increase if Ellie decides to send it on ice, which, oh my god, she absolutely is. How did you do that? Jesus! That's confidence in the brakes right there. How far back was that? That's like half a second back. And Ellie just said, fuck it. She got back on the throttle and sent it. And I mean, sent it. Anyway, that. I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that she managed to get ahead of him, or the fact that she managed to get the car stopped after that. Sent his ass back to hot pursuit too. Right back to Scenic Trail, or Scenic Drive. Scenic Drive, that is. DePrisco just tried to sneak on the outside of Natsuki, but she's not having it. And meets Hansen on the corner exit. I'm surprised these two haven't made more contact, to be honest. Then again, I haven't been looking. For all I know, they have. Hansen, that's not where the corner goes. I'm gonna turn in for that. Nico, yeah, that was Hansen's last really good shot at the pass. I guess he could do it at Parabolica, but it's not likely. And out of Parabolica, Siegfried Brandt is going to take a 680 class car to a victory here at Monza in the Dream Car Championship Plus. Like a non-720 car just took a victory. Ellie and Brian Ice make up the podium positions. And with that, there's only one more race left to go. I should probably cut the recording. That might help. You're here ahead of the green light for the final round of Dream Car Championship Plus, and it is Circuit de la Sarre, 3 laps. Ironically, the finale is going to be the shortest race, simply because, you know, the average lap speeds here are so much higher than most tracks that you run 8.5 miles in just a little over twice the amount of time you'd run 3.5 at other tracks. So, a quick rundown of the points going into this last event. After following the previous round, Brian Ice is the points leader going in. He sits at 75. Wayne Hansen is second in points, 73. Followed by Maki and that hot pink Viper at 69. Nice. Then it's Dom DePrisco at 67. Honoka and Ellie tied at 65. Eric Wojcicki at 65. It's 66 for Honoka and Ellie, not 5. Siegfried Brandt, after winning Monza, is at 63. Me at 62. Kogasa at 60. Marine at 57, Natsuki 56, Vert 53, Cam 46, Ryan Wolf tied with him, Johnny Parker 41, Hikari Taniguchi 29, tied with Nico Mizoto, James Stillwell at 18, Travis Wild is last with 12. So, to put it in the simplest terminology, if Brian Ice is in second place at the end of this race, he wins the championship. It doesn't matter who's ahead of him. If it's Wayne, if it's Dom, if it's me, it does not matter. Podium will guarantee a tie. And the apocalypse scenario, If Wayne Hansen can't manage 3 points, he can't win the championship. I don't think that's going to happen because both Hansen and Ice start in the top 6. So Brian Ice is actually on pole. The random number generator really seems to favor him today. So Maki and DePrisco have outsiders' chances, but DePrisco's got a lot of work to do because he's starting the race from last. You can just about make out his headlight back there at the more or less top right of the screen. That's from like center right. Anyway, lights. And there is some noticeable rain on the circuit. The windshield wipers are active for most of these cars, if not all of them. Rainy weather in France, not really any surprises there, I gotta be honest. How many Le Mans 24-hour races have gone by where there wasn't at least a little bit of rain in it? Now, lap 1 shenanigans, or I should say sector 1 shenanigans at Lassard are just as bad as they are at Suzuka or at Monza. They're worse at those two tracks, but not that much. It's still pretty darn bad here. Or can get pretty bad. Especially when there's water on the circuit. But the rain actually hasn't really affected much yet, as DeFrisco blocks a huge run from Ayase behind. Everyone's playing a bit of pinball as we head up towards the first of the 2 chicanes. Oh my word, Natsuki, you got it there? I mean, yeah, sure, there's rain on the track, so I guess that's probably why that just happened, but... Dom definitely knows. He's got to go. He has a low but less than 0 chance of winning this championship. Not really as things stand now, though, as Wayne Hansen's just taken 4th away from James Stillwell. Thus meaning that he would be scoring more points than DePrisco right now, and even if DePrisco were to suddenly be in the lead, Hansen would still be scoring enough points to stay ahead of him. Though he's already up to 8th. He can at the very least get a victory here and get 2 wins in 1 championship. The 3 real life people are alongside each other. That pounding noise came from Reen's front bumper, straight to the back of the SLR. Hansen has a small run on Mizoto, but can't take it anywhere. Especially not when Mizoto himself pulls aside to try and pass Taniguchi to no avail. As that R34 is going to have superior traction and just in general, but especially right now. With all the water on the road. But yeah, it's an 8-point difference between DePrisco and Hansen. No, 6 points between him and Hansen, 8 points between him and Ice. So really, Ice is kind of just like, he's in the driver's seat right now, as it were. He doesn't have to do a whole lot of anything. I mean, that's kind of, generally how it works. If you're in the lead, you physically can't do anything else to win a championship other than when it gets wrecked your opponent. And I'm sure after Fuji in episode 23, Brian Ice would probably love to do that. There's just no point. And they're also not really near each other just yet. It's too much sending from DePrisco. He gets into the back of Wojciechowski. Just abuses the final corner to get ahead of Hansen. Once again, expected much worse, although Hansen is going to come back at him down the main straightaway. All-wheel drive acceleration moment. And congratulations, you played yourself. I don't know, maybe he thought Dom was alongside, he was going to run him off the road, but he wasn't there. Then he just completely missed the Dunlop chicane, and Dom DePrisco will be on his way. After the other Ferrari, who he murdered at Tokyo, and he kind of looked like he was about to do it again. Right there. I think he just kind of missed, otherwise I think he probably would have. Down the Mulsanne straight. Oh yeah, here we go. The collision's being made. Bodywork being scratched. Braking points being partially ignored. Actually, never mind, they look kind of normal now. Quarter panel and other quarter panel, and I think just more to send a message. But Nico then jams the brakes. I don't know what that was for. Or Bizotto. Actually, no, I can do that. The other Nico's not in the race. Gee, I wonder why that is. Just some traffic shenanigans. Festival Italiano much? We don't even have that as an event. Dom passed Hikari down the, down the straight. That big ass thing. Yeah, there's one more target in his sights. Brian Ice. Ice unstable out of that corner. Dom seems to be allergic to upshifting at the moment for a second there. DePrisco slightly ahead. They rubbed doors for a moment there, I think. And Ice lets him ahead. He goes back down the inside through what I believe is Indianapolis. They're both struggling for cornering grip and exit traction. This part of the track is actually dry though, by the looks of things. I see no water getting kicked up at all. Ice manages to out-exit DePrisco, but DePrisco's got better overall power, plus assistance of some slipstream. He's inside of the entrance to the Porsche curves. Expects him to go back down the inside, but Ice doesn't do that there. And he wanted to at the second half, but now he does. And this is going to continue until the very end of the S's. They're still mostly to dead heat, but DePrisco gets his elbows out, forces Ice off the track a little. Now we've re-entered the part of the track where the rain is present, but track's not very wet. Probably Dom apparently noticing it more than I figured as he almost loses control out of the final chicane. Well, Hansen is up there on his way to try and contest this. He's got Taniguchi as his one remaining obstacle before you can go and chase after the two leaders. Zoto also just kind of in the background there, but I don't really know how much of a factor he will be on this final lap of the championship. Ice is on Razor's edge there as he attempts to make his way back up to DePrisco. He doesn't even need to win the race. He's ahead of Hansen on track, and he's got the most points in the championship. DePrisco can't win from here. But Ice doesn't care. He wants this victory, and it doesn't matter what the point standings might tell you. We're going to be in a drag race down the Mulsanne, but DePrisco has the superior horsepower overall. And Ice does not have superior nerve under brakes. They are down to a crawl at the very wet first chicane on the Mulsanne straight. Ice gets a massive exit and just leaves DePrisco in the dust, heading back onto the main drag. But with that slipstream in play, DePrisco's going to get right back up there. And he looks to the outside. They're going to drag race again, heading towards the other chicane. And Hansen is clear of Taniguchi, so he's going to be joining the party too in a moment. This could get ugly, because, well, Hansen, neither Ice nor DePrisco really like Wayne too much. In fact, from what I understand from their very long drawn-out argument after episode 23, DePrisco and Ice have formed something of a common enemy alliance against the Murcielago drivers. You get a bit of an example of the animosity here. Hansen just goes and just runs into the back of Ice, or just kind of startles him, pushes him into the corner, meanwhile squeezing DePrisco off. DePrisco appreciates being given some room and promptly walls Hansen, and he will continue on his way. Message delivered: do not fuck with this battle for the victory, you cretin. Now DePrisco's got to get back up there to the Diablo in time, so they can finish their combat without being interrupted by a Murcielago. Seems he's done that perfectly fine though, as he's thought he was actually going to send it into Indianapolis. Maybe it would work if there weren't rain on the track, since it's now started to rain through here again. Into Arnage, I think. Ice is so out of shape, and DePrisco smells that blood in the water. He's alongside as we head back towards the aptly named Porsche curves. Gee, it's almost like there's a reason there's a giant billboard for them there. But the Porsche that's in the race is running 19th, so tell me. Too wide into the start of the Porsche curves. Dom edging out ahead, but Ice forcing the issue. Still there, still two. There's the sunset, I think. That's sunrise. I'm dumb. I know what time it is, totally. DePrisco slides back into the lead through the second half of the S's. Ice sends it down the last corner. There's still two, I think. Nope, DePrisco just pulls ahead. Hansen's rejoined the party, despite being smacked into a tire barrier. Only the Ford chicanes left to navigate, despite the fact that there's no Ford in the race. How ironic. And out of the last chicane, Dom DePrisco, with a spirited fight against Brian Ice, grabs the victory at Le Mans. But ultimately, that doesn't matter, as with his second place finish, Brian Ice is your Dream Car Championship Plus champion. I believe that'll put him at 94 points to Hansen's 91. And DePrisco's 87, if you're wondering. A driver who certainly was not enjoying these conditions much. Brandt down here finishing last in a car that seemed to built for Le Mans, or a car that seemed like Le Mans was built for it. Being able to hit 240 probably down the Mulsanne multiple times, but not being able to use any of that because he's in the rain and he's dealing with 1200 horsepower to the rear wheels on a wet track. Recipe for disaster, and he's probably lucky he just did not end up in a tire barrier by the end of it all. And yeah, one last bit of points calculations, and I shall rejoin you at the end of that with the final points standings and cap things off in episode 24. I've returned with the final points standings for Dream Car Championship Plus. As previously mentioned, Brian Ice, indeed your champion, indeed 94 points to his name, out of a maximum of 120. Trying to think what that make his average finish. It means he averages just shy of a top 5. Wayne Hansen second in points, 91. Dom DePrisco third, 87. So the episode 23 crew from Fuji were clearly all motivated by their encounter. So they all top the charts here. Maki / Nico's joint effort nets the P4 in the standings at 81, followed by Eric Wojciechowski at 80. Me with a dying throat. Honoka 6th, 73. Me 7th, 70. Ellie with 69. Nice. Vert with 67. Kogasa with 66. That's the Q with 65. Brent with 64. You can't make that shit up. Rin Hoshizora 13th in points at 61. Cam Walker at 57. Johnny Parker at 54. Ryan Wolf 51. Hikari Taniguchi at 46. Nico Mizoto at 45, James Stillwell 26, and Travis Wild with a measly 14 points. Really makes you wonder how the hell he qualified in the first place. I'm sure 15th in points would have done a lot, or 15th in qualifying would have gotten a lot more points than that. So that would have been Jake Scarborough, who missed by, I don't know, like, I think it was like 300ths, somewhere around there. Yeah, that's episode 24. The championship is indeed done. I've heard a couple of rumors spreading around. Ice might try and start a team to compete against Mercury. Competition that's not trying to wreck us wreck them because of their gender would be nice. Unless he plans to have Bizotto on the team, which would be a grave fucking mistake. In multiple ways. Yeah, there'll be a bit of a short break. There's clearly a short break in my brain capacity too. I intend to go to sleep as soon as this video is finished recording. So, as you can see, it's 7:10 in the morning. The in-game clock is kind of ratting me out here, but anyway, there'll be a bit of a break in between episodes after this one goes up. There's some things planned other than that, though. Some stuff to go in between episodes 24 and 25. I'm out of energy. I'm out of brain. I used the last of it doing my point standings, and now I'm just not there at all. A bit of a break. make preparations for 25, basically the second half of the season. And there are some preparations that do need to be made for that. But, until that day, until that point, farewell.